G'day everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I want to give you an update on all the aquariums. So a couple of things have changed, we've got updates and all sorts of things to talk about. We're just basically going to run through every tank and basically every new thing in it since the last 2 weeks, since I haven't been very active on YouTube at all. But let's just dive straight into the video and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's start with these two tanks here, and starting off firstly with the 20 litre. Now this isn't quite a beautiful tank at all, it's just full of fake plants and usually I don't really like them. I am planning on kind of changing this tank, probably making a planted aquarium at one point, not sure when though, so don't ask me. But in here we basically got a bunch of Japanese blue Endler guppies. Well, we've got some males and we've got females in here, so they're breeding now and then. We haven't had as much breeding lately, which I'm happy because I'm just fine with just keeping Endler guppies for fun without having so much breeding and so many fry in the tank. And we also do have a chocolate gourami. He's doing awesome. He's always been doing great. He's really liking the tank. Of course, there is lots of hiding places throughout the tank for him to go explore, and he just chills near the top all the time. Now, I know there's a lot of surface movement. Usually gouramis don't like that, but I haven't had any problems with him yet. But if it does create a problem, I can always decrease the power of the air pump somehow. But other than that, not much new in here. It's just been staying how it is. And then if we move here, we've also got our angelfish. So what's happened with the fry? Well, if you didn't see the live stream from yesterday, you probably wouldn't know, but the fry didn't make it. Once again, they died, which is so frustrating, but I just learned an extra thing during that time, and I realized that hang-on breeder boxes do create a bit too much movement, and it does tend to suck up the fry. Unless some of you do have solutions, I'd love to know. Basically, they just kept getting sucked up by the outflow of the hang-on breeder box, and so they just couldn't cope with it. They weren't strong enough, and they eventually just died off from probably being too tired, and a lot just died from getting stuck in between the crate where the grid where the water comes out of. I did have some filter floss blocking it, so I thought that would do it, but still they managed to get in between that filter floss and just died there. Couldn't really save them, so that was a big bummer. But my solution for the next time is I'm just going to use a floating breeder box. Hopefully that will work, because the grid where the fresh water comes flowing through to the breeder box is so small, I don't think any angelfish fry will be able to go through it, and there's no movement sucking out any water that could possibly suck out the fry, or just push it to the side and it can't swim and will probably die. Yeah, we'll see what happens next time we get a spawn, which will be within the week. Of course, they always do spawn within the week, but since the fry were here, their parents were actually always watching, and they were not laying any more eggs because they were trying to care for the fry while they were in a separate container, which was kind of sad. But now they're probably going to breed again, and we'll just use a hang-on breeder box in here. Now the angelfish are doing great, of course, and they're just chilling back here, keeping them well fed so that they can have a nice big batch of fry. Then we also have the bristlenose, the two lemon blue eyes. They're also doing amazing, and one of them is just chilling back there. The other one is right there. We do have a lot of snails in the tank, but only recently did they actually start dying off. I guess because I didn't feed the fish for a couple of days. But also I'm just going to try get some cucumber in there and lure in the snails and then fish them out and get rid of them. Put them in the garden or something, and that should hopefully control the population. But other than that, I'm fine with a couple snails in the tank as long as they don't eat the eggs or stuff like that. The plants are doing great. Vallisneria thriving. The bacopa isn't doing amazing, but I still have some nice healthy bacopa in the 90 litre, which I'm still happy with, and this still makes a little bit of a difference, just some extra live plants. And yeah, so the 80 litre here is doing great, and I can't complain. Fish are breeding. With that said, let's move on to the other 20 litre tank, not the one I showed you, but the other one where I was planning on putting the angelfish fry. And right here we have the 20 litre angelfish growout tank, so it's going to be for the angelfish fry when they do get big enough to upgrade from the breeder box, and they'll be able to move into the 20 litre right here. And you can see the Java fern straight off the bat is doing amazing. It's got such green luscious leaves, and it's creating many new sprouts. It's actually growing a lot quicker than I thought it would. And we don't have any newbies on here because it all died off. We do have more algae in the tank still, and we had a couple shrimp die. I checked the water parameters and they seemed fine. I guess maybe I didn't feed them, maybe I should feed them, and even though they have all this algae, they might not always want it, so they'll just die of hunger. I'm not sure, but I still don't mind it. It's just going to be a grow out tank, and we can always do other stuff in the future with this tank. I've cut down with the floating plants. I just got rid of all the ones that had all that algae, and yeah, other than that, this tank is doing fine. Light is probably why there's so much algae in the tank though. But yeah, I mean, if I do put CO2 in this tank, it would probably help a lot with the algae. But other than that, yeah, that's the 20 litre for you there. There's still a couple shrimp in here though, which is great. And I'm looking forward to having some angelfish fry in here at one point. Alright, so there's not too much to discuss with the 90 litre, but here it is on the screen, and you can see it's not doing too bad. There is algae growing almost everywhere, but I really don't mind. This isn't really a tank that I want to try and make a masterpiece. This is just one to enjoy just some fish, ranchu goldfish, and some white cloud mountain minnows. You can see with the little fake grass bed that I've got at the bottom, there is lots of algae growing there. I don't think it actually looks that bad. This is just at the front of the tank. People will see it, but I can't really get any lights or heaters or anything for this tank, so this is probably the best I can do. And in the spot, there is lots of sunlight going through, and this is the only spot I can put the tank on, so I really have no choice. I just keep scrubbing the glass, and I keep that clean, and I think it just looks fine. Give the gravel a vacuum now and then. But the white cloud mountain minnows are doing great, and I do see some mating throughout the year, of course, which is awesome. Might breed them at one point, but for the time being, I'm fine with just keeping them for fun. And then we've got the ranchu goldfish. He does swim pretty weird. It might look like he has swim bladder disease, but he actually doesn't. It's just goldfish. With all their inbreeding and pigmentation nowadays, it's hard for them to swim with the big bellies and the body shape and the structure. It's just how it is nowadays, and this guy, he's been in here for over 2 years now, so he's thriving, he's doing great, and he's eating, so showing all the good signs. And if you're wondering about aeration in the tank, the internal filter does create lots of surface agitation, so there is plenty of oxygen coming into the tank 24/7. But other than that, there's an update on you for the 60 litre outside tank, and let's move on to the 90 litre. Alright, and let's take a look at how the 90 litre aquarium is going. So you can probably just see straight off the bat, it does look beautiful, and we can see just with the first plants that pop up at the front of the aquarium. We've got this, I actually don't know the name of this plant because I got this years ago and I never kept track of what the name was of it. If you guys know, please comment its name in the comments down below. But it's starting to grow really nice. Now, when I was keeping it without any CO2 or good lighting and that sort of thing, I was barely getting any red or pink out of this plant, but now we can see we're getting some really nice light sort of pink coloration. It looks great in a contrast with all the other plants, and from a distance, if we get a nice big bunch of it when we propagate and that sort of thing, then it'll look really nice. And you can see that's what it was looking like before we put the CO2 in, and then it started growing these really nice leaves. See some really nice pure pink right there. Now if we go to the bottom here, we've got some AR. You can see it's actually also doing pretty well. A bit of slimy algae growing on the top of the leaves, but I don't really mind the look. And you can see underneath the leaf, it's got really beautiful red coloration, and you can see the roots actually kind of look cool like that. And hopefully it's going to start carpeting along there or something like that. A little bit of moss there, you can never get rid of all of it. But we have our dwarf pongal right here. The dwarf pongal is also having a bit of algae growing, but once again, kind of looks good with the actual plant compared to most other plants. I guess it's not like really shooting off or anything yet. Hopefully it does, but for now it's just like keeping stealthy, keeping strong, and it's alive. We just have a random piece of Alodia there. But if we take a look here, we got Bacopa all the way back there, nice big bunch. Now it's actually looking amazing. You can see the leaves at the top are actually kind of a bit pinkish, so that's not what I've seen in lots of Bacopa before, but it's just your common Bacopa that you find from the fish store. Yeah, that's doing great. And then we've got some Nessae triflora that's actually taking off. Really happy with the growth of this plant. If we do zoom up a little, you can see it is looking fantastic. And the actual stems are actually almost growing out of the surface now. Actually one is, which is pretty crazy. And I just love the look of it. It's a great little background plant. Hopefully we can keep propagating it and bushing it so it can block the aerators over there. And then over there we have the Rotala wallachii, and that's actually not doing bad. I mean, only recently has it started actually growing some really nice looking leaves and stems, so you can see right on the tips that it's starting to grow nicely with its proper coloration, especially that bit there. But that's also looking good. Only recently did we have this plant here starting to grow really nicely. Now I kind of forgot the name of it. I don't remember it right now. I'll have it on the screen, but it's actually taking off. So I was waiting a while for it to actually start growing, but now its time has come. You can see we've got like all along there lots of new sprouts across the stem, plus a really healthy plant overall, so I can't complain about that. The reds are doing nicely, especially along here and over there, and even up there is it starting to look real red and nice. So yeah, we're also going to keep propagating this and bush it about around this area here. Now we've talked all about the plants. Now, one of the reasons why the plants are actually growing really nicely, which actually isn't to do with CO2, it's because we installed a second light onto the tank. So I just thought, because this is actually a pretty weak light, thought I'd install a second one because I want to get some really beautiful growth out of my plants. And so we just got the Higa aquarium light. Not sure what the exact model is. I'll probably have it somewhere on the receipt or something, but it's really nice. We'll do a proper review, and you can see other reviews on like all the features it has, but just have it on the full spectrum and at 100%, and it's doing really well with the plants. And then back there we have the CO2 running. Now right now it's not running so much, but it was just before. Yeah, just that CO2 system back there. We'll make another video on the whole setup and how I made it and that sort of thing, but I reckon that's making a big difference in the tank too. Now I've seen with this CO2 system though, this might just be with the yeast, but it doesn't actually really get rid of much algae. Since we do have a bit of algae back there, I'm just blackbeard algae, I'm just going to use some liquid carbon to get rid of that. But I mean, there's probably other methods of DIY CO2 like baking soda and citric acid that probably actually kill the algae. I don't think this method does, but this just might be my experience. If we take a look at the fish, everyone's doing fine. I don't think we've had any deaths since last time I've shown you, and the cardinals are looking amazing. The camera won't focus on them because they're so small, but they're actually starting to grow, which is great. Emperor Tetra's doing great, and so are the cories. They're just chilling on the bottom. Also, if you can see back there, we have the female bristlenose. She's just chilling inside the driftwood there, and she's massive. So, but there's a little update on the 90-liter aquarium now. It was pretty long, but there's lots going on in here. I guess that wraps up the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't uploaded for a while, but gotten back into it since I just started school. But yeah, have an awesome day, and I'll see you all in the next video.